Hey, welcome. Thank you for joining. I'll get the video and everything else live in a second. Sorare Holland, first in. Nice to see you, mate. I'm just setting up, getting the announcement up. We're going to be talking all of that. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Give me 2 seconds and we will be live. Well, we are live, but you know what I mean. If you can do me one thing, let me know in the chat, what are you feeling right now on the Sorare announcement? Just one word. How are you feeling? I need to tweet out the stream as well. So if you do see it, tweet it out. Let me know. Sorry for the typing. I'm discussing the Sorare announcement. And so much wrong. Now, I hope that link worked. Right, who is here? Yawaza, thank you for joining. Cian. It's not Cian, is it? I've butchered your name, I bet. I apologize. I'll call you Oakley. Oakley, thanks for joining again. Scott Warren, thanks for joining again. Right, 10 viewers so far. Give me 2 seconds. We have shared out the link so people on Twitter can join. We've put it on Discord so people on Discord can join. Oh, you can actually see some of your messages on screen. I don't know why some appear and some don't. Are we going to go live? Let's go live. To me, welcome. It looks to be working. You can see on screen that I'm watching my own stream to make sure it works. I have Play Sharper open, I have Sorare open, and I have, of course, the big announcement. So once a few more people join, we will get right into reading it again because it's very key with these announcements. Everyone, including myself, just rushes through it, gets the core parts out and just go. There could be some important parts we miss. So that will be up next. Go, and why not announce today's news yesterday? We'll get into all of that. Siro, thanks for joining. Ben, thank you for joining. I'm just going to check my Twitter and make sure that tweet went out. Maybe people are getting frustrated. Read all of everyone's comments. I don't think there's any. If we could go like this, share this out, that'll get more people involved. We'll get a better chat going on. I don't really want it to be just my opinions. I want it to be a little bit more of a discussion. So. Whew. 15 viewers, thank you for joining. I guess we should start reading it. Should we? We should. We are going to read it together. So, this was released, it's a 3-minute read. It was released, I would guesstimate, about an hour ago. As part of our marketplace roadmap to improve user experience and market sustainability, important, Sorare Football is implementing 2 changes to its manager sales marketplace. The peer-to-peer transaction platform where digital cards are bought, sold, traded. Okay. A little bit weird why they describe their own platform. I'm sure everyone read it, understands. Elliot, thank you for joining. Daniel T, thank you for joining. Elliot, I did help you out with your gallery, but a little bit of advice can go a long way. Didn't do too much here. So below, please see the updates surrounding manager sales fees and market cards listings, as well as information on our product roadmap. So that's something you might skip over. There should be some good information in here about the product roadmap. So Sorare Football is implementing sales fee for transactions on its managers. The change will go in effect May 1st. So you have 11 days before this change is implemented. In general, you want a little bit more time than 11 days, I'd say, but also it depends how game-breaking or important, I should say, the change is. So I'm okay with the 1st of May. I'm pretending as if I'm reading this for the first time so that we come in with a unique perspective. I don't want to be biased here. Obviously, I will be biased because I've read it before. There is going to be some bias, but we are trying to read through it very, very clearly and see how bad is it, or is it good, and what are we missing, because there's a lot of thought that goes into these things. These guys aren't just willy-nilly, and they want the success as much as we do. All right. So, the Sorare Football fee is 5% across the majority of transactions on the Sorare marketplace, subject to leagues and club exception, which could result in a lower or no fee. Now, this immediately is something that I glossed over on my first read. So, what do we think that could mean? On the negotiation table, when they're like, right, we'll give you £1 million for your license and we can sell your digital assets, the club then get to select how much of a fee they take. So does this mean the secondary market fee directly correlates to what the club will earn? Because if so, that will bring about positives on a fee, because it will mean we'll get licenses much quicker. Like, think of the J League and how much benefit Sorare has brought to the Japanese league, right? And then if they were to then, they might not have seen some of that benefit early on if they weren't getting a secondary market fee. So important to note, but let's not gloss over the 5%. Now, this is, how do you say it? Like, this is unique to everyone's perspective. This isn't going to be the same across the board. So for my initial thoughts, that's far too high. I think of crypto, I think of the whole point of it is to transact between people without the need for a middleman. That's one of the key benefits of it. Here, you're sort of facilitating the move between two individuals for 5%. And, you know, anyone in crypto might come back to me and be like, okay, OpenSea charged 5%. All NFT projects charge 5% on top of that. But that was during the very, very high bull markets. I think what we see now is a lot lower. You see Blur introduce no trading fees. First, we have LooksRare introducing, like, I think it was 2%, but of the 2% of fees, it feeds back to users in stakers and, you know, benefiting the platform. OpenSea recently cut to 0%. But of course, that's not the fee that Sorare would be taking. Sorare would be taking that fee and they'd be taking the NFT fee. So I think of the Bored Apes, and I think their fee is 5%. I'd need to check. They're obviously the biggest, but I think they have 0% fees on some of the other items like the dogs and all of these different NFT. The key part about the NFT market in general is that you don't actually need to pay it. There are websites that avoid it because it's not actually hard coded in. And that's something I'll touch on later, and actually the Sorare perspective from that. But we'll continue reading for now. My thoughts, 5% too high. It matches MLB, it matches NBA, but we're not the same as them. You know, think of the cards, think of the market cap, think how much bigger we are, think how much more established we are. Seems high. Moving on. This mirror's, covered that. If you sell an applicable card for $100, you'll get 95. Explain how 5% works. Fair enough. Similar NBA and Sorare MLB experiences. Sorare, right. Football managers will know when the 5% market fee applies when listing or selling the card. Good. You'll get to see it. I think that's important, obviously. Ahead of the 2023-2024 European season, we're implementing this fee as part of our larger work towards building a sustainable economy and our community. This is a key step that allows us to better balance our economy across our market and ETH rewards. Now, I think this is such an important part, but it's a little bit wishy-washy, you know? We're going to be bringing in fees for sustainability. Oh, everyone loves sustainability. It's going to balance the economy. Oh, we love balance across our market and across ETH rewards. Great. What does it actually mean? Because how in any way is balancing the market when card prices are falling to add more bad news? This is what I don't get. I'd love to have a little bit more depth, right? If this was 2.5%, 50% of the fees we raise are going straight back into thresholds. 50% of the fees we raise are actually for the All-Star competition payouts we pay out to a top 100 places. That was introduced earlier. That's actually what we're talking about here. Are you in agreement here? I think it's time to take a little break and just read some of your comments, because I don't want this all to be about me or my thoughts. But yeah, surely there's got to be a little bit more substance in that message than we're trying to make a sustainable economy, because what you're doing is actually the opposite. If you wanted to bring in this fee and make it sustainable, when card prices are rising, you bring it in, it brings them down, and you're sustainable. You're at a very flat, level ground like I think most people would want. So, we have a lot of people, so... right, we've got up to there. So because it will remove selling pressure, I don't want to skip on to the second part too early. More strategy to gallery movement, absolutely, but what is the strategy? I mean, you're trying to avoid the fee you're talking about, or are you just saying... Because there's no strategy to it if it's going to be 5% the whole time, unless they bring in power hours where they reduce it, for example. I like the secondary market fee, but 5% on uniques and some super rares is mental. A good point to bring in. Should it be a fixed fee, no matter the card, no matter the scarcity, no matter the cost, no matter the XP, all of the rest of it? Difficult for me. I don't really have too strong of an opinion. I guess... I could completely understand the more value you bring in, like a tax system where the lowest value will always bring in less tax than a higher value. And I know it's very simple: 5% on under £1,000, 2.5% over £5,000. Any of those numbers work, but it's like, is it fair across the board? I'm not sure at the moment. I need to think about that. It's a good update. The users in Sorare have the same interest traffic on the marketplace. Yeah, there's a lot of things that aren't directly related to the first part, so we're going to have to continue. I'll read it all. Okay, so beginning April 25th, we are implementing a new list or play rule. Okay, currently managers can score points in the live game week with a player's card they have sold to another manager. Post game week lock, I'm sure we all know that. We believe adding another layer to the card listing process will provide enhanced strategy. Yeah, it does change your strategy. Specifically, which players can you go and sell, and when's the best time to do so? I'm not sure I agree with this point either. So, enhanced strategy, maybe not. Strategy, it definitely changes your strategy, because if you've got a player that's doing well, you're not going to sell him. If you've got a team that's dead, you're going to sell the player in the dead team. Which players should you sell, and when's the best time to do so? I would actually argue this makes the game a lot less strategic, because there's no selling when Friday to Sunday. Unless all of your players have played early on Friday, what benefit are you going to have in selling this card earlier? Like a day earlier of ETH payments, or you just wait, your two remaining players might randomly hit 100 and you get a little reward. There's actually no strategic benefit to this, in my opinion. You just cut down the amount of days you sell cards from Monday to Sunday to, well, there's even midweek games as now. So you effectively can only truly buy and sell cards Thursday night, Friday morning. And then, of course, the reverse would be Monday night, Tuesday morning. I mean, the more I think about this, is that not just a disaster? Am I missing something here? Like, what is the strategic benefit? You're not going to sell a card that's in a lineup. I see Quinny posted like, oh, will anyone snipe second place with third place? If you have any idea what you're doing on this game, if you are in first place, you are not listing a card for sale. I know personally, I'm not listing any cards for sale Friday to Sunday unless I know the team's fully dead, because it doesn't make sense. And then what happens to your XP? Because your XP is based on how many points and how many minutes your team plays. So is that gone as well? Do you just completely eliminate the 4 other players' XP? That specific point I hate, but let's continue. Starting April 25th, managers who include a card in Sorare's football lineup will be able to simultaneously list it on manager sales marketplace for sale or included in a trade offer. Managers cannot list and play cards at the same time. Is that not the same point? This only applies to managers who initiate sales or trades, not those who receive offers, or if and when they accept. Now, can someone confirm for me, does this mean if I get an offer for my card and I accept that offer whilst he's still playing in a good team, it will continue? This only applies to a manager who initiates a sale or trade, not those who receive offers, if or when they accept. So I don't think what I just said is correct. Obviously, if you accept an offer, the team's dead. Okay. Once a sale or trade transaction is complete, any live lineups featuring that card are invalidated as I expected and won't be eligible for that game week. For example, if a manager lists a card on the marketplace, it cannot be entered into a lineup unless the manager acknowledges a card will be delisted on the marketplace. So it instantly delists your cards as soon as the game week closes. I don't think that makes a difference. Managers need to confirm the listing and acknowledge they know all the rules the player's going to go. Got that part. Please note, this new list or player rule applies to Sorare football. We will monitor and evaluate the impact and potential expansion to other sports in the future. What I've seen so far on Twitter, I haven't seen anyone like this feature. My question, and what I asked on Twitter, is who asked for that feature? It seems like, even if you think it's great, why have we wasted resources on it when there's like other aspects of the game we really want improved? Like, how long did it take to roll out the double game week rule? We've had that in MLB and not MLB, so we've had that in NBA for ages. We've just this week got it in football. So there is obviously some constraint on resources. So to waste resources on something like this just doesn't make sense to me. And I do like to think of the market picture, and I think, what is the benefit? And the benefit I can think of is that less players get listed immediately after the lineup. There's a little more holding, there's less days to sell, there's less sell pressure. But that means there's also a lot less liquidity of my cards if I can only sell them on 2 days of the week without killing a lineup or for example, anything else. I mean, what does Pavel Trader think of this? He's going to have no lineups. I mean, I'm not sure how well he did in the games anyway, but yeah, completely no issue with the second. Dan Howard, completely no issue with the secondary market fee. So I had to find a way to monetize the marketplace. Completely agree. I'm so in favor of the market having a secondary market fee for the sustainability element, but I want a little bit more explanation where this fee's going, because from a user perspective, it's just, although I knew it was coming, it's wishy-washy where the money's going. Is it just going to Sorare and the profits are increasing by 5%? Is it all distributed back to users? Is it a mix and match? It would make, I think, the announcement a lot better if there was some clarity on that. Don't even get me started on the second port. Scott Warren, the only thing it could do is some managers will look to auction more during the non-trading times. They'll look to buy more during the non-trading. That's a great part I haven't thought of. So essentially, there'll be a lot less manager cards on sale, so you won't be able to compare prices as easily. So you'll lean towards the auctions and auction volume goes up. Okay, I see that point. It'd be a benefit for Sorare. Kind of screws the users a little bit more because, yeah, you'd have to pay. Right. Yuaza, well, they are selling less cards on the primary. So you're saying they're getting, obviously you've kind of jumped on someone else's point, not on this point, so it's a bit hard. So I think the point you're trying to make here is that they'll be making more money, and then because of that, they'll auction less cards potentially, and less supply is better for everyone. Let me read some of the old comments. Julian G, it's a good update. The users in Sorare will have the same interest traffic on the market. Before Sorare had to submit new cards, now they are more flexible. I'm not sure I understand. Before Sorare had to submit new cards, now they are more flexible. Not sure I understand that bit. Sorare Holland, another question. The fee starts in May, correct? And the XP for Cap 240 doesn't start for months to come. Why not simultaneously? That is another thing. Like, the best thing to do with bad news, and I would argue this is always going to be bad news, an extra fee, I think that's fair, is to mix it in with some good news. And in this news, we've got double bad news, which is why people are kicking off. So I completely get that point. If we had that scenario where Cap 240 now has, let's say, XP bonus but no captain bonus, and at the same time we got a 5% market fee, how would you react? I'd probably more thresholds. I still think 5% is so much. I would love a free 2.5%. I'd be so pro that. I know it's like a price elasticity thing where the higher the fee, the less volume that's going to go through it. The lower the fee, the more volume, and you need that perfect middle. And I'm sure it can be changed, but the fact it hasn't been changed on NBA says it's probably going to be pretty static. Like, my idea was we bring back the Sunday sales, power hours, and you have cut fees for that time. Great, we're actually going to get some interest in the auctions then. But the problem with that is everyone will be there, they'll pay that extra 5%, and everyone comes off the same except for Sorare. That makes 5% less. So doesn't sound good. I'm going to go back to the bottom for some comments. Been on Sorare for a year and a half now, the worst edition. The lack of reasoning is embarrassing. Strong words from Jonathan. I don't word it as strongly, but I do see the point. I completely see the point. Like I've explained when I was reading it through, there needs to be a lot more detail. There needs to be some positives with some negatives. So I haven't actually finished it, right? In Wednesday's product roadmap, we shared that we are working to improve our marketplace tools to help managers scout, buy, sell, and trade more effectively. Okay. We launched saved search filters, improved our search function on the marketplace, and we'll launch a new listing group view of the manager sales marketplace. The new groups will all listen for a player's card, same scarcity. This is it just non-news? I think it's just non-news, right? Like, filters are cool, but everyone, 99% of people are filtering on Sorare data. That's where they'll do their scouting. It's kind of what I feel. Mattia Sorare, sorry. Maybe they want people to hold on to their players and not buy and not sell for just one game week. Yeah, that's true. But they've also introduced the Cap 240 mode, which is exactly the opposite, where you do want to, buying sell players because you'll go over the cap, then under the cap, and contradictory statements if that is what they're expecting. But at the same time, surely you knew this was bad news, guys. Like, there doesn't feel like enough clarity in this post to reassure people. Like, I know personally, when I read a 5% market fee, I was a bit like, are they paying out too much money? Are we unsustainable? Is that what they're saying? It did panic me a little bit, and then I was like, you're probably just reading into it too much. They got away with 5% on NBA, so they're going to try it on football as well. If you're on the border about selling your club right now, I think this would probably push you to get it done because you save 5%, which is an absolute ton of money. If you're looking at any gallery really, yeah. Obviously, your gallery size is related to your own financial circumstances. So, £1 million for YNWA might be equivalent to £10,000 for me or whatever. So it's it doesn't really matter on the size. So where is rewarding holding and punishing selling? So are they rewarding? So I think the problem with that message, right? You shouldn't be punished for selling. Selling out, you should be openly allowed to sell out, of course. And then selling into different cards is part of the best fun on the game. And holding rewards or being rewarded for holding, there's so many good ways you could introduce that aren't negative. Like a 1% first owner fee. If you buy a card off the auction, you should get an extra 0.5% bonus on the card. Or if you win a card in a reward and you don't sell it, an extra 0.5% bonus. And that can go past the 20%. So in theory, if you held that for 2 years, you'd have 20.05% XP. Fantastic, right? It's like FIFA Ultimate Team where you get the first owner and people do first owner clubs, but there's an actual benefit to it rather than just looking cool. Sorare Warren, it isn't that bad, just a little annoying. I feel like that comes of all of these announcements. Everyone's like, this is the worst thing ever, I'm leaving, I'm selling. And then everyone's like, well, it probably wasn't that bad, was it? The same on the upside as well. Probably wasn't that big of a deal, was it? I am on the side that this isn't the worst announcement ever, but it isn't good. That's not own your game, their core principle. Who's going to buy cars when you can't sell them? Again, strong words from Jonathan. I understand your pain. That's kind of where I lie on it. Let's see. I've obviously shared my thoughts. Let's see some other comments. So, Ruv, is his name Ruv? Ruv. I butchered another name. I'm okay with this. Seems like I'm not in the majority, judging by the comments. The 5% fee will necessarily increase card prices. It could increase card prices, but it wouldn't increase what you get for your card. If they go up by 5%, the only person winning in that scenario is Sorare, so I don't agree with that. The list or play will create mini bubbles starting 12 hours before deadline. I'm fine with both. It's hard enough to get a team done in 7 days. I know exactly what I'm talking about because I've just spent 7 days trying to finalize this team I'm working on. So why would we want that cut down to 12 hours? I can imagine it could be quite fun on one side where it's we buy, we sell, we buy. All of these cards are getting listed. Card prices crash and then card prices rise. Let's imagine this scenario. Let's ignore the rule they've just put in, and let's say, in fact, the rule is you can only trade in a 12-hour window. Is that positive? That is not a positive statement for me. You can only trade in 12 hours. Not sure. Thank you for all you guys that shared that. Really appreciate it. Clark, I've seen some of your positive comments before. If you could leave some more, because I like to have a balanced approach, and I can't go back scrolling for all of them. Connor, thank you for joining, mate. I am well. I hope at least. Yuwaza, I agree with what they want. Right, Simeo, if they go out and smash advertising after this, I don't mind. Get the masses in. I'd rather get a fiat wallet sorted before they do marketing, though. That's such an important part. Not exactly what you said, but I would rather get the fiat wallet introduced. And this is what I'm wasting resource I'm talking about. Focus on the fiat wallet, nail that, then come back to the secondary market fee, then come back to this list or play feature if you want it, whatever the benefit you're seeing is. I can't see it, to be honest. And if they go out and advertise, why not start the advertising and then be like, look, lads, we've made a push on this side. Obviously, everyone knows marketing costs money and advertising. Now we're bringing in a fee. Like, my initial statement was 2.5%, August or July, double thumbs up from me. I will push that up to 3%. 3.5%, whatever. 3.5%, we're introducing in August, double thumbs up from me. August 1st. You'd expect the majority of obviously the majority of cards on the platform are European, right? Most people, the closer it gets to the season, the higher card prices will go. We might see a little we might see a bottom forming on the market. Great. But we literally every day we're getting lower and lower, and the lower we get, more people are thinking, oh, this is too low for me, I'm going to sell, and it causes more selling. It's like just awful timing with no real depth in it. Personally, Sorare Gaffer, personally I like will definitely reduce the number of cards on the market. It will, and that's good for your theoretical selling price. But when you come to sell the card, it's going to be so much lower. Okay, let's think of the benefit, right? Like, this has brought a good point to my head. It will reduce the number of cards. If you want to get out of the platform, you can sell on Saturday or Sunday when no one's going to be listing cards. You might get a slightly better price than you would have before because no one else is selling. It does reward those that hold cards, but I also don't think you should be punished for selling cards. Like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, the fun of the game is, I was in Hugo Duro this week, now I'm in Asano, and I probably use players people know. I was in Paulo Dybala last week, and he had a really good fixture, but now I'm going to flip into this guy, and it's going to cost me a little premium, but he should make it up because I'm expecting him to do well. That's not the best part of the game. That's the best part of the game, is it not? You know, the trading aspects. Let's see what other people have said. Right, so this is the list or play rules. Personally, I like the rules. Give that a like. It was a good point. Well put across. I hope list or play will be available soon on all sports. Wow. NBA updates coming in hot with a hot take. I've seen many players buying cards 2 minutes before game max and selling directly 2 minutes after. Now, this is an important point because when I played NBA, that was undoubtedly the strategy. Like, buy them, dump them, because it's like 1 game week. Are very, very important in Sorare NBA at least. But I just don't see it as that much of a problem on football. Like, card prices go up and then will, of course, slightly dip after the game week. But that's almost like, right, do you want your money now on Friday 4 o'clock? Do you want some ETH now and you can go do what you want with it? Or do you get a higher price Thursday? That's part of the game. I think that's great. Like, I always leave it to Thursday and pay the higher price because type of guy I am, but I know people will buy their teams on Saturday and Sunday. I feel like this is a huge overreaction. It's all building up for the product to be ready for the near European season. The next European season, I think, is what you meant. Yeah, I get that point. Like, all of these, I said it before, all of these things seem to be overreacted. But I also don't think that point of, oh, everything's going to be fine when the next European season rolls out. Why? Like, the market cycle works. More people will buy as European comes closer. But if people don't think the platform will be around, it definitely won't cause the prices. Like, why not introduce this when things are going better? That's my kind of takeaway. This is what I've always thought. I'm not going to say it again. I am. July, August, bring in a secondary market fee. Make it 3%, 4%. I'm not saying 5%. Like, that is high. 4% is high. Make it 3%. August, July time. Prices ticking up. We might have the bottom in. Euphoria will hit the platform. Everyone will be feeling better. Really like they're trying to incentivize long-term holding, which hurts their own. Really seems like they're trying to incentivize long-term holding. We pretty much agreed from what we read, which hurts their own pockets with the 5% fee implementation. Not sure it will hurt their own pockets, to be fair, unless you're saying like people will leave the platform and won't come back. Maybe people were getting frustrated that their lineups were being cancelled because their cards were sold last minute before the deadline. I've had it happen to me. It wasn't fun, but you do know it's your own fault. They may have felt some users anger. They may have felt some users anger over that. I see it. I don't think so. Rumpelstiltskin. Right. Clarky, we finally come to your comment. things that affect the way user things that affect they way. I think you mean things that affect the way users play will always garner some backlash. But this is great long-term change. Incentivizes holding cards and building teams over making a lineup, and that selling it increases it plays bad. Huge W. Now, I actually agree with the first part of this message. You know, we're building teams, we're not building lineups. I think that's one of the best. What did you say? We're building teams over making a lineup. Building galleries over building a lineup is one of the smartest ways I've seen anyone put it. I think that's great, but one of the fun is making a lineup. And to say it's a huge W, maybe you're just going the opposite of the grain here, but it's definitely not a huge W. I could see you saying I agree this is a good point. It's a W. Huge W though. You have low standards if you think this is a huge W. Or maybe it's the way you position your gallery, to be fair. I'm in a position now where this doesn't actually negatively affect me too much. If you watch my last Sorare journey, I've actually just finished building kind of a very long-term project. So yeah, I'll probably come off of this quite good. But in terms of the fun of the game, okay, I'm thinking of a great point here. They're partnering with these brands. Dortmund, they've got tickets to this weekend. You require 2 limited cards to get them. The easier it is for me to get limited cards of Dortmund, the worse that kind of reflects on holders of that card. For example, I've never really owned Dortmund cards. I don't care for I do like the team. I don't care for the SO5 results of the team. So I have enough balance to go out and I can just buy 2 Dortmund limited cards. I can chuck it in to any of these lineups. So Champion Europe here, I have an absolute killer team, I think. I'll drop Hakimi for Bellingham. I'll drop whoever for Schlotterbeck. I think he's still injured. Or Guerreiro. Yeah, Trent for Guerreiro. I win. Brilliant. I'm going to Dortmund. I'm going to watch the team. But that's not who they're trying to incentivize here. They are trying to incentivize people that love Dortmund so much that they've held them through thick and thin, that they have every card in their gallery. And this is where it gets a bit... difficult, because I am a massive Celtic fan. I love Celtic so much, but I've sold every single one of my Celtic cards because I treat this like a game where their goal is to score as many points as possible, and I wasn't enjoying how many points they're scoring, so I sold them and changed my strategy. So now if they put on offer Celtic VIP tickets and behind the scenes and meeting the players, I'm not going to be there to get involved in it. But I can, because I can still go out, pay the extra additional fees as everyone's going to be pumping them up on the market, and do it. That's the only real positive I can see to this. And I think that's kind of the way they're aiming for this, is long term, we are focusing on rewarding fans. We're focusing on rewarding collectability. The harder we make it to flip in and out of cards every day, the better that works. Do people understand that? I think that's a good point. This is why I'm doing this, to bring my own benefits to the point. This update should have come with the update on behalf of collections. Yes. So if you've seen in the plan, what do they call it? A roadmap. If they've seen in the roadmap, they're intending to reward users that collect cards. So I do actually still own some Celtic collectible cards, just they're pretty low value. I might really like some of the players. Good luck to me trying to find this, by the way. Squads. New and old boys. So this used to be 40 players deep of just ex and current Celtic players. And I loved it, but it was wasting time in my gallery because it was yielding no returns in ETH. And I've got so much money invested in this. This isn't like a sticker collection where I go and spend £5 on a couple of packs and get the rush of that. This is like a game of, for me, statistic-driven data fantasy football, which I absolutely love. And obviously players like Josh are great on the game, but maybe someone like Kyogo, who's great in real life, wasn't, in my opinion, worth his price tag. So they're going to go out and reward people that are Celtic fans and collect Celtic cards with Celtic memorabilia and stuff. So it should have come out with a collectibility. It is a collector's. They are aiming towards collectors. That's the only thing this is the only reason I can see that. But why not mention that in the, announcement here. It just doesn't make sense to me. I'm going to read some more points on it because it really has been eye-opening. Like, you would have seen my comments here. That is me just tweeting this out. You would have seen my comments here, which is, what is the benefit? Who wanted that? Because no one wanted it, and there was seemingly no benefit when I read it. I can see a slight benefit now, but not worth the resources we probably put into it. And at this point, like, all of my tutorials, all of John's tutorials, all of Quinny's tutorials will have this great upside where it's like, the second the lineup's done, sell the players, do what you want with them. And I know someone's going to get caught out and sell their players and then come back to me and be like, whoa, you told me to sell my players. And I'm like, oh, sorry, mate. 20th of April, these rules actually changed. Sucks to be you. You've just lost your team. I know there's going to be disclaimers and rules against it, but it does seem like it might be a little bit like that. Most people don't care about the collectability. Chris Holt, that is a great point, and it's probably the point they're trying to change. So I don't want to defend them too much here because they should say this in their own announcement if that's the plan. Like, I've formulated this plan from what people have said to me on their opinion of this. And again, it's not worth the upside. There's so many better ways to reward collectors. Like, I think it'd be really embarrassing if he doesn't have this. Sorare on a budget. Did he not collect like the whole Dundee team? Has he sold his gallery, or is that Sorare on a whatever? I'm pretty sure Sorare on a budget had every single Dundee card that was ever released on the platform. So you could reward those users so much simpler by saying, if you own 20 cards of that team, we will put you into this draw. Anyone that owns 20 cards of this team can go into this SO5 tournament for 1 week where you must use one Dundee card. That works so much better than this whole, like, we have a Borussia Dortmund card coming out. You need 2 Borussia Dortmund cards. It doesn't make sense. Have the number of collectible cards you need to enter. 20 Celtic cards. If you own 20 Celtic cards, you get special access to this one SO5 league. And the SO5 league can have whatever rules you want. Make them different to each one. Make the club pick whatever rules they want. There's so many better ways to do it. So I am so pro bringing collectability to this platform. Like, I just don't think this is the right revenue or right road to do it, if that's what they're aiming for. I mean, look at my collectability. Leo Messi. I'm bringing in gold, silver, bronze, and I did try to get a platinum one if you're following the journey. Like, I do think this platform will be around for ages, and I think collectible cards will be worth it in time. And they need to start making them collectible. I've said that for ages, but that's just not the route, you know. Sorry, some more of you will have comments. Jonathan with Kyogo's £20 at the minute. Keep it shut. What a baller, by the way. Like, if he starts getting some AA, I'll bring him into my Champion Europe team, even when he doesn't play there. Okay, Gaza. I think that the percentage part is good. Not sure on the selling cards yet, on the fence. Only thought was when they had Champion League and Europe Cup and European Cups, and your team's playing in both, you can't list a player. That's almost what I said at the start of this, where I was like, your selling window is now Thursday night, Friday morning, and Monday night, Tuesday morning. It's so small, and like, it could be really fun where everyone's just buying and selling cards there, but it's like, it takes you so many days just to decide what team you're going to be putting in. So, I'm still leaning to, I don't understand the logic here. Like, the timing's bad, the explanation's bad, the overall waste seems a little wrong. I don't know. I don't want to get too caught up in it, as I've said plenty of times, there's always overreactions to these things. International game weeks just got better now because people won't buy players for just one game week. Now, is that actually true? So you're one of those guys, Jonathan. I think I've nailed it that time, mate. You're one of those guys that prepared really well for the up-and-coming international break. And I'm sure you were rewarded that and, by your teams doing better. But the players that just built for that one game week, right? They're not going to come out of that looking any better because they would have bought off people that prepared a month ago. That was one of the best cycles of the platform where it's like, I typically have like a Donnarumma and some like Trent. Oh, Trent doesn't really play well in the internationals, but like a good international base missing a couple of players. So I'll have to go out, pay whatever price those guys want, and they can make a benefit off that. And I think that's great, like market cycle. So I don't actually agree that players won't do this anymore. It's just going to cost them much more. So it does prevent it a little bit, but it's not going to prevent it, in my opinion. tell you what, Alex, this cuts out so many people building perfect game week teams. It does, and it's the same point I just made. Like, these guys that make one game week teams, they're not doing well. Like, the second you go to sell them, like, you'd have to buy someone that's playing like Elche this week. So Valencia, I know, are playing Elche this week, just for my own teams. Valencia, God, this streaming thing, you got to do so many things at one time. So let's say, and you're gonna go get Edison Cavani would make sense. Jose Gaia would probably be the guy, right? You're gonna go out, you're gonna get Jose Gaia, but realistically, so many people see him doing well, he actually goes up in value. So if we actually take the bottom of 451, he's already up to 633, and of course that's like pennies on the pound, right? But the same thing usually does happen in like rares as well, in the more liquid market. So it's like, I've done it so many times where I've not gone for a one game week team, but I needed a player that's got a really strong fixture. You go to sell them and they're half the value. So it's like, these guys don't come out on top. You're not stopping a problem. You're not helping a solution. Like, whenever this is rolled out, I will promise you the amount of points required to win a division will not change. It will remain completely unchanged. If you think that's bollocks, put it in the caption, put it in the comments right now, and we'll come back to it in a month. We need a roadmap for what they're going to do with the market fees. Players deserve to know. Ricardo, I think that is exactly the great point. Like, as a player of this game, I have just lost 5% to them. My gallery value is close to £10,000, right? That is a massive chunk of money. What are you using my money on? If I have no explanation of what you're going to use this money on, I'm going to go and get out before the 1st of May. Like, I'm not going to get out because I've met these guys, I trust these guys, I know what they're trying to build, right? But as a normal person that hasn't, met the people behind it, like, tell me, 5%. Like, there's £1 million galleries out there, 5% of £1 million. No explanation. Like, the explanation they used was sustainability. Like, I don't like it. We're coming up for 43 minutes. I hope this hasn't come off ranty, because although I'm clearly not in favour of the suggestion, I'm about to try and balance my argument a little bit here, which is unique for me. Sometimes I just like to gun-ho it and go straight for the jugular, but not today. Truly don't see any reason for this change except making the product slightly worse. Well, I hope you joined this live stream, because you might have changed an opinion slightly. Should we go back to the 5% fee? Let's see what people are saying. So Ryan said you knew the fees were coming, essentially. What do you mean they're working quickly on it? Like, as I explained, they announced this yesterday, and now the fee's here tomorrow. Like, we haven't seen that sort of speed anywhere. I knew it was coming. I just think 5% is not, it's not NBA, it's not MLB. That is so high. Like, the NFT world is aiming to go for no fees or like a cent, and we're going to take 5%? In a market downtrend? I don't know. I haven't got long left on the camera battery life, so this will probably be me closing out, just reading these. Still here watching a Sorare video though, John B. Sorry, that was a disrespect. Didn't mean to read that one out. Every card is dropping in value, and now you basically take 5% off the value. Kind of what I said, like falling market prices. You want sustainable market prices, so when things are going up, you cut the price, you add a little fee, but you let people know. By the way, probably coming in August there'll be a market fee. It's kind of what I think. I think I've drilled this point to death. I think we've had a good discussion in the end. I hope you guys have liked it. I was going to go build my lineups on stream. There's a lot going on. I think this stream is probably going to cover it. Thank you so much for joining. Please drop a like, please drop a comment, and most importantly,